Ladies and gentlemen, a new development we'll get to in a second. First and foremost, Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you very much, gentlemen, for being amazing moderators. Eric H526 and Luke St. Martin. J Spot J. J Spot J, thank you. And to my super chat, ladies and gentlemen, you help me do these live streams. Without the super chat, I could not do these live streams, and I just want to thank you very, very, very much. Let's go ahead and look at the news of the evening. Gratefully and humbly, Kellyanne Conway leaving White House. This is an article in the Washington Examiner. Presidential counselor Kellyanne Conway, who served as President Trump's final campaign manager during the 2016 election that carried him to victory, announced Sunday evening that she'll be leaving her White House post at the end of this month. So Kellyanne Conway is leaving, I'm sure you all know. And we'll get to exactly why in a moment. Her conservative lawyer husband, George Conway, who is a frequent critic of the president, simultaneously announced on social media that he will be stepping back from his position at the Lincoln Project, an entity consisting of anti-Trump Republicans and independents, and Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld Republicans. That's who they are. Both said they want to focus on their family. The couple have 4 children together. Kellyanne Conway, who has built a powerhouse Republican polling firm, became the first woman to run a successful presidential campaign in 2016 upon Trump's victory in the 2016 general election. The veteran Republican pollster went on to become one of the most ardent defenders of Trump during his first term as president. She announced her departure on the eve of the Republican National Convention, tweeting a statement with a tweet that said she is leaving the White House gratefully and humbly after more than 3.5 years. I am leaving the White House gratefully and humbly. Here is my statement. God bless you all. The past 4 years have allowed me blessings beyond compare as a part of history. On election night 2016 and as senior counselor to the president, it's been heady, it's been humbling. I am deeply grateful to the president for this honor and to the First Lady, the Vice President, and Mrs. Pence, my colleagues in the White House and the administration, and the countless people who supported me and my work, Conway wrote in a statement. As many convention speakers will demonstrate this week, President Trump's leadership has had a measurable positive impact on the peace and prosperity of the nation and on millions of Americans who feel forgotten no more. Conway said she would be transitioning from the White House at the end of August. George is also making changes. We disagree about plenty, but we are united on what matters most: the kids, our 4 children, and our teens. And tweens starting a new academic year in middle school and high school remotely from home for at least a few months. As millions of parents nationwide know, kids doing school from home requires a level of attention and vigilance. That is as unusual as these times. This is completely my choice and my voice. In time, I will announce future plans. For now, and for my beloved children, it will be less drama, more mama. Neither Trump nor the White House had commented on Conway's departure just before midnight on Sunday. Greg Steiner! Goodman 2024. Greg, thank you. Thank you, Greg Steiner. Thank you, Greg Steiner. Thank you. Conway has been a fierce defender of the president, even as her husband criticized and mocked her boss on a daily basis. George Conway said he would also be taking a break from all social media while announcing that he would be stepping back from the Lincoln Project. So I'm withdrawing from the Lincoln Project to devote more time to my family matters, and I'll be taking a Twitter hiatus. Needless to say, I continue to support the Lincoln Project and its mission passionately, he wrote in a tweet. So I'm withdrawing from the Lincoln Project to devote more time to family matters. I'll be... The couple's 15-year-old daughter has made repeated public outbursts against both her parents, speaking to media outlets about her own political views. Her father tweeted a journalist demanding they cease communication with her. Wow. Wow. So she wrote, my God almighty, to journalist Kellyanne Poles and I do not consent to any communication between you and any of our minor children, including our daughter, Claudia. So desist. Thank you. This is unbelievable. So the media is so vile and insidious. They're trying to get, juicy stories from a family being obviously torn apart by politics. And then the daughter said, you're just mad that I'm finally getting my voice heard. Sorry, your marriage failed. Okay. My parents are forcing me to delete social media, so this is my last tweet. Apparently, I don't have a platform. It's fake. I love you all so much. Keep fighting. This is what happens when you have two parents that are devoted to politics. I mean, okay, later that day, the father tweeted to journalists, okay, less than an hour later, you're just mad that I'm finally getting my voice heard. Sorry, your marriage failed. Hours later, she told 111,700 followers that her parents were trying to silence her. She tweeted, my parents, particularly my mother, are trying to silence me by getting me to delete my social media. Haha. You put politics, social media, and raising a family. Nothing good comes from any of this. I mean, if you put them all together, social media is Twitter is the most worthless platform. With it's the only thing good about Twitter is that anonymous, sad, pathetic, meaningless trolls can hide behind fake profiles, could hide behind a cyber world where their computer and Twitter is not going to be around in 4 or 5 years. It's not going to be around. It is the most worthless platform there is. Nothing good comes from Twitter. Nothing. That's why I don't have a Twitter account. General D, hello. If you see anyone impersonating me on Twitter, report that, take screenshots, report that profile to Twitter, because I do not have a Twitter account, specifically because I received a death threat from it, and it's a waste of time. You know how long I don't know how, I haven't had a Twitter account for 2 years or so. And Jamal Thomas, a really awesome voice on the left. He's a progressive, but he's great. He has a fantastic channel, The Progressive Soapbox. And he documented, and I have his video on my description and my pinned comment. He did a brilliant job documenting my last day on Twitter when I told everyone what I thought of them. In a long, he didn't even get, for some reason, my Twitter feed didn't, the first I think 10 tweets or 10 or 15 tweets didn't show up, but I told everyone on the planet what I thought of them, mainly on the left. And I just left, and it was just a waste of time because, no one is going to remember. People will remember, if you're in politics, you're writing. So my website's coming out, and it'll have all my writing there, from the Huffington Post, the Hill, Salon, the Federalist, the Daily Caller, the Jerusalem Post, the Times of Israel. It'll have, obviously, my 2 YouTube channels, this channel, H.A. Goodman's other channel. It'll have, very likely, I'm thinking about whether I put up the MSNBC and CNN segments. But it's if your voice is only Twitter or only Facebook, these platforms aren't going to be around forever. And they're just platforms to spew the most vile disinformation, and it actually helps President Trump. So President Trump's they're gonna retweet Trump into 8 years, which will be hilarious. But it's not a platform where like teenagers use Instagram, or they use other, like, younger people use Instagram. And even Instagram isn't really like the healthiest, best platform. Social media in general. Now YouTube is different. I mean, this is like video based. There's a limited interaction aside from the live streams. There's a limited interaction between people who go on YouTube. I mean, there's the comment section isn't like, it's not like, you can't really get into a long protracted argument in the comment section. And if you do, you have a lot of time on your hands. In my comment section, it's like amazing. Nobody gets into arguments. It's awesome. I have Luke St. Martin, Eric H526 as moderators on this channel. I mean, so my live streams like run flawlessly. But if you're a teenager, you're trying to like, grow up in this world, it's, reality is tough enough. Then you add a cyber world where everyone has their own interests in mind, and then you have people with bullying and you couldn't find less empathetic, civil, decent people. You couldn't find less empathetic people than Democrats or left-leaning people on Twitter. They, correct the record, paid $1 million just to get trolls to insult left-leaning people and Trump supporters, mainly left-leaning. The left is like the most unhealthy place to be. And then if you have both the Lincoln Project, and so you have establishment Republicans and and you have, so Kellyanne Conway was working for President Trump, but then you have George Conway, who is the Lincoln Project person. It's probably the most dysfunctional way to run a family. To be a spokeswoman for President Trump while at the same time your husband is working with all the neoconservatives and advisors to Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld, who spend every day trying to just get Trump and totally like make him look foolish and own Trump. I mean, they're going to retweet the president into 8 years. It's going to be amazing, but I can only imagine what their family is going through, especially their kids. Not a healthy situation. Now, look, I mean, it's their job, and they're trying to, that's what they do. That's what they do. But I never, and then you have media going after and trying to get stories from the kids. I mean, the media is, they are now activists. There's nothing objective about the media. They're basically a computer program that Democrats have created that works just as well as the Iowa app. And don't get me started. I watched my segment today. Clinton's going to replace Biden. It could be just a meeting. It doesn't have to be some kind of calamity. It could be a meeting saying, look, Biden ain't going to do, Biden would get completely steamrolled, obliterated, decimated. And I called the last election. Nobody on the left called the last election. I remember when NPR quoted me, the link is below. I'm telling you, Leo Szabo, hello. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen. So it's just, I also never understood having Kellyanne Conway, at the White House all the time when her husband was basically doing everything possible to demean President Trump or to foment the absurd notion that Trump worked with Russia. I guess it was the adage, keep your enemies close, but keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. But I never understood that. I never really understood that at all. But Like, it's just, it's for me, it's just sad to see. It's sad to see that here you have these children growing up, and they've had to share their parents with the most unhealthy, dysfunctional American political system now, which I'm sure took a toll on their entire family. But here, so not only has there been media fascination with the political dynamic between the Conways, but early in the administration, Kellyanne made headlines for some comments on air. Shortly after Trump's inauguration in 2017, one of Conway's first media appearances on NBC Meet the Press previewed the forthcoming contentious dynamic between the administration and many media institutions, defending then White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer's comments about the president's inaugural size. She stated that the White House spokesperson was presenting alternative facts. Alternative facts aren't facts, they are falsehoods. Kind of like the Steele dossier saying Trump worked with Russia. That's full of falsehoods. Kind of like saying that Trump might have worked with Russia despite there being no evidence. So when Chuck Todd, see, this is what they do. They claim things without evidence. They use falsehoods to perpetuate myths. But if, for example, they say, oh, God wasn't, the DNC didn't take God out of the Pledge of Allegiance, then there are like numerous examples of people not using the word God, like specifically, like, waiting out the word, like, not saying the word God. And then they say, well, the DNC didn't do it. That's a lie. This is a lie. And then they look through the fact check. It's like 1/3 of the fact, 1/3 of the alleged lies Trump told, or 1/4 to 1/3 were actually true. Like, he actually told the truth, and there's categorically no way they could be seen as a lie, but they focus on like one word and a different, like one possible semantic interpretation of a word. It's like they obsess over, they're petulant. They are absolutely petulant. And so, Anonymous Economist! I laughed so hard at her interview with Chris. Anonymous Economist! Hello! Anonymous Economist, hello! Anonymous Economist, hello! Yeah, I mean, she's actually a pretty good, presence. She definitely, Anonymous Economist, she definitely has a presence where she's comfortable, more so than a lot of people, confronting media. She's not amazing, though. She's not, like, fantastic. There was another issue with a White House photo where she took off her shoes, and then people made a big deal about it. Of course, that wouldn't. Could you imagine if the tables were turned? It was a Democrat who took off her shoes, and oh my God. But Anonymous Economist, thank you. Defending then White House Press Secretary Sean. Okay, so, and I don't even know, like, she could have said, I mean, the crowd size issue was the specific, like, he wasn't the biggest crowd size. It wasn't the biggest crowd size. Did Clinton have used service for convenience? We don't know. She could have. That's what she said. It was service for convenience. Like, they're apoplectic. See, they have this, like, apoplexy button. They're apoplectic when they want to be. Old school dad, man. We need to lobby to get you to speak at the GOP convention. Would be a compilation of our favorite HM. I'll be like, hello everyone. You didn't invite Mitch McConnell, but I'm the second best thing. Nancy,
How you like me now? Well, I got higher ratings now, saying higher ratings.
Old school dad man, thank you. J Spot J. I literally ate 1 million cookies. Liar. Exactly. It wasn't 1 million. It was at least 4. It was only 5. It was only 6 cookies. 6 cookies. It's a lot. What happened to truth? The truth, the post-truth moment. America, save us from this lying monster. Exactly. J Spot J, thank you. Old school dad man.
Old school dad man, thank you so very much.
Old school dad man. Duke Diesel. Bill Clinton, and you know that guy will get in her way of running.
Duke Diesel, I don't know what you're talking about, and I'm offended by the insinuation that I would get in the way of my wife, when everybody knows that nobody can get in the way of my wife.
Duke Diesel! I think, if anything, he's paving the way, like always, with the political influence derived by the Clinton name is Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is the how do I say this? Bill Clinton is the two-term president, and the reason that Democrats are so enamored with both of them. Duke Diesel, thank you so very, very much. I mean, nowadays, not so. It doesn't seem like it, but when you look at their history in aggregate, Duke Diesel, thank you. General D. The Democrats have to go with Hillary Rodham Clinton. Not a whole, not a whole lot of people like Biden. Exactly, General D. Exactly. I agree with you. And if you look, they went after George Conway has publicly put his political disagreements with the president on full display. In summer of 2018, he wrote an op-ed published by Lawfare blog criticizing Trump for categorizing Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation as unconstitutional. It isn't surprising to see the president tweet a meritless legal position, because as a non-lawyer, he wouldn't know the difference between a good one and a bad one. Here we go. See, well, George Conway, in the end, was wrong. Nobody was indicted. Nobody was indicted for conspiring with Russian intelligence officials. The whole thing was a setup. The entire thing. This is why he'll get reelected. Look, ladies and gentlemen, they say that Trump will take democracy. It's democracy that's going to give Trump 8 years. I'm telling you, vote early. Get to the voting booth early. Vote early. And don't wait in line, by, getting to the polls at 1 in the afternoon. This is a rock concert, okay? This is a rock concert. This is a, Rose Bowl. This is a parade that you have to get to early. This is an event. You get there early, and you vote for President Trump, and you save this country from from Democrats and Clinton 2020, because it ain't gonna be Biden. Biden already loses to Trump, and if you look at the polls, the swing first of all, the polls are a bunch of nonsense. They're just finally reflecting reality. Reality is independent of what people say on social media or public relation polls. Reality is that people elected President Trump despite the overwhelming contempt for Trump in media, within the Democratic Party, within Hollywood. He won, and he didn't even have, you had 8 years of President Obama, and that was the best. That was the best time for the Democratic Party. There was still energy there. Of course, there was, the country had enough of 8 years of failed regime changes and, pumping money into banks. It's President Obama's administration had everything from a water crisis to, Russian interference. He didn't protect us from Russian interference. We can go on forever. To destroying a country in Libya. We can go on forever. That's why President Trump won. President Trump won not because of, horrible racists that came out of the woodwork. He won states that hadn't voted Republican since the 80s. States that voted for Trump, for President Obama twice and Bill Clinton twice. Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. So people had enough of the Democratic Party. They had enough. If they wanted more, they would have voted for Clinton. Okay? Duke Diesel! EP problems for Bill. What is... Get what I mean? EP... Oh, yeah. But people don't care. They don't care. The left doesn't care. The left doesn't care about anything. Duke Diesel... What would seem as, that's too much. Duke Diesel, what would seem as, obviously, people, it's too much for Bill. He spoke at the DNC. They're never going to, it will take a third presidential loss, so 2024. When she runs again in 2024 and she loses again, then maybe they'll do, they'll just forget about the Clintons. Maybe. Duke Diesel, thank you. But the Mueller probe was started because of a dossier that Clinton purchased. And memos that Comey wrote. What Jeff Sessions did, and I told you, and everybody, when it first came out, I said when I debated that person to basically show that the whole LMNOP message board thing was complete and utter nonsense. Okay. I spoke against the whole Q nonsense, the message board hoax. That now media is obsessing over. They're going to blame that message board hoax for losing. I told you it's going to hurt President Trump. But, Jeff Sessions had to have been the worst. He did one good thing too. Who cares? If you allow the Mueller probe to take place, the Mueller probe was the most unconstitutional investigation because it wasn't predicated on an actual crime. It was predicated on the possibility of a crime existing based on high to moderate confidence from intelligence officials within the executive branch. How on earth is that constitutional? How do you investigate the possibility something happened when you have no evidence of it taking? The United States doesn't even have evidence against the derived from the intelligence community against the Russian intelligence officials that we indicted. It's Company One, CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike was outsourced by the Democratic Party. They would never allow the behavior. They would never allow their behavior, the things they did to Trump done to them. They're hypocrites. Bucolic Buffalo! Thank you, H.A. Hello, Bucolic Buffalo. Hello. Excuse me. Leo Zabo, I hope Joe doesn't. Yeah, exactly. Leo Zabo. Okay, his criticisms have escalated in intensity since then, writing multiple opinion articles in the Washington Post that called for the president's impeachment, tweeting barbs at the president, and co-founding the Lincoln Project, an organization whose missions. The Lincoln Project is the reason President Trump will be one of the reasons President Trump will be reelected. There are no tangible reasons why Democrats why anyone should vote Democrat. President Trump's response to the pandemic did not cause New York to be the epicenter in the world. New York and New Jersey have the most lives lost in the entire country. This is a fact, a 100% fact. And then if you add New York, New Jersey, Michigan, Illinois, Pennsylvania, and 3 to 4 other Democratic-run states, you get half of all the lives lost. And they focus, this is why Jonathan Swan wanted to focus on cases instead of lives lost. Because Democrats have to hide behind the notion that a case equals a life lost. When the mortality rate, let's just leave it at this. The mortality rate keeps getting revised downwards to where you look at the highest per capita in terms of lives lost is New York and New Jersey. So, I mean, you can go to the New York Times. Go to the New York Times. The states that are doing the worst in terms of lives lost are all Democratic-run states. If Trump wanted to make this a blue state issue, he could have easily made it a blue state issue. Then what the media does, and they're like, oh, cases are going up by percentage-wise in these red states. It's like, no. That you compare Florida and Texas, who have a fraction of the lives lost, compared to New York, and it's not just it's not just about some cases are people live their lives, cases are going to go up, the vast majority of people are going to survive. That's why Jonathan Swan wanted to focus on percentage, not percentage of population as opposed to percentage of people who survived. We're doing better than most countries in terms of percentage of people who survive. But they can't foment enough fear. So they have to just what Trump should have asked is just, why do you want to focus on percentage of population as opposed to the percentage of people who survived and got better? Oh, I was focused on percentage of my population. Well, they don't have New York. They don't have. I mean, God bless the people of New York. De Blasio and Cuomo and they sending people into elderly facilities, old age homes who were infected, and of course they get away with everything. You think media is going to go after New York's governor or New Jersey's governor? They wouldn't. What do you think Clinton would have done? Nothing. You think Clinton would have told Illinois' Pritzker and Whitmer in Michigan? You think she would have told De Blasio or New York's governor or Murphy in New Jersey? You think she would have told them what to do? These people were trying to impeach President Trump right before the pandemic really hit, and New York's governor on March 1st stated that the risk remains low for the people of New York. That was March 1st. How does he get away from that? How do they get away from the reality that New York's governor, the epicenter of the pandemic in the entire world? So other countries like South Korea and, other countries don't have the New York Democratic political machine. Otherwise, they'd be doing much worse. New York dropped the ball on everything. And media doesn't care. Their biggest focus is going after Steve Bannon and everybody else, and then complaining that Trump is trying to go after Biden, and then impeaching Trump for going after Biden. I mean, this is like a kindergarten class. Like, Democrats are like, you, that's not fair. That's not fair. You can't go after us. And then they go after Trump. I'm like 2 months before the election. Everyone around Trump. You have a California judge. They're trying to get his taxes again. They're going to lose. They don't have anything tangible against Trump. He didn't get us into a Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld never-ending military conflict or war. Okay? He didn't tank the economy like Bush. He didn't destroy a country like President Obama did in Libya. You look at what Bush and President Obama did, their worst mistakes, nothing compared to what they accused President Trump of. Well, Trump's response to the pandemic, they wouldn't. President Obama left the country with no masks. This is a fact. Sorry, I should say depleted masks. See, that would be viewed as a falsehood. Oh, you said no, but there were at least a couple thousand. It was depleted, and that's a fact. But anyway, we can go on forever. There's a reason that you look at the lowest unemployment and the lowest aggregate number of lives lost, and it has nothing to do with overall population because Texas and Florida have more people than New York, and New York and New Jersey have more lives lost. But there's nothing that the president could have done because you had everyone from our favorite medical professional to the New York governor saying, gosh, there's nothing to worry about here. And even Vox had to delete a tweet saying, yeah, you know what? And then they said, well, we deleted the tweet because it doesn't reflect the reality. Then you had Eric Swalwell saying, oh, yeah, don't wear, protective face coverings. So, you look, ladies and gentlemen, and it's like they wouldn't have done anything differently. And then they keep saying that, well, look at the economy. Look at the economy. Yeah, the economy. Who do you think is shutting down the economy? It's not Trump. It's not the majority of Republican governors. Captain Redneck. Hello, HA. What do you think about all the insane? It's probably because of that. And if they start blocking RNC entrances, Captain Redneck, I'm hoping that there are no issues. I don't think there will be. I think there will probably be enough security at the RNC. So, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the buffering. I don't know if there's buffering going on, but Captain Redneck, I think that there's going to be. I'm hoping there's going to be enough security at the DNC. There was, according to CNN, 2 Democratic operatives who were forced to resign because of fomenting violence at Trump rallies. So, but ladies and gentlemen, you look and the country is not going to, there's no reason to vote Democrat. Like, zero reason. Their foreign policy is the Lincoln Project foreign policy. So if you want the Lincoln Project foreign policy, that's their foreign policy. In terms of the economy, President Trump presided over record low unemployment. Record low unemployment. So the pandemic is not Trump's fault. Nobody blames President Trump. Nobody blames President Trump for the pandemic. He didn't work with Russian intelligence officials. That's nonsense. And we know he didn't because nobody was indicted on working with a Russian intelligence official. Nobody. We know that Kevin Kleinsmith with the Durham probe was just pled guilty for falsifying information deliberately to deceive FISA judges. They literally had so little information they could use because most of the info was just simply purchased that he had to falsify information. He had to falsify information. And it's like, instead of admitting, see, they'll never admit, like, even when they lose, and they will lose, and it'll be with Clinton, it's not going to be with Biden, because the second Biden debates Trump, it's game over. So they're not going to do that. You look, ladies and gentlemen, at the worst states. Just go to the New York Times. And God bless the people in New York, New Jersey, and throughout the world. Go to the New York Times right now. Per capita, New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut lead the nation in lives lost per capita, per 100,000. Okay. And then in aggregate, the total lives lost, you look at New York and New Jersey, and God bless the people of New York and New Jersey, but it's approaching 40,000 lives lost in 2 states. In 2 states run by Democratic machines. This is not President Trump's fault. Okay? Not President Trump's fault. And you cannot blame President Trump for what takes place in New York and New Jersey. You can't do that. You can't do that. And New Jersey, per capita, is doing worse than any other state in the country in terms of an aggregate lives lost. If you look, you can add, if you can look at the map as of August 23rd, 2020, New York and New Jersey have almost 40,000 lives lost in aggregate. Okay? You add California. Okay, so you had California, Massachusetts, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and a couple of other Democratic-run states. You're approaching half of the entire country in terms of aggregate numbers for lives lost. This is not President Trump's fault. This is not President Trump's fault. And it's a horrible thing to look at, and it's a horrible thing to it's a terrible thing to it's a terrible thing to tabulate. It is a terrible thing to tabulate. But if you look and you add, and God bless the people who've lost their lives, you know, this pandemic is a horrendous thing. But to blame Trump for it when you had people on the left, everyone from governors to medical officials who downplayed it, and then they say, well, we would have listened to Trump. Yeah, right. Nobody believes that. Nobody believes that. Only the people who are just consumed with contempt for President Trump believe that the country was just yearning. The country was just yearning for Trump's leadership. It's like they knew that none of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. None of the people saying that they would have listened to Trump would actually have listened to Trump. So, and he was getting impeached. So if you add 1 to, I'm not gonna do it just because it's just a gruesome thing to do, and to explain. Okay, you add the number of lives lost in this state, but if you add New York, New Jersey, California, Massachusetts, Illinois, Pennsylvania. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you can add. So you get you're approaching half of all the lives lost in the entire country, just with about 6 to 8. And if it's 8 to 9 Democratic-run states. And Texas has more people than New York, and they have around 20,000 lives like they have 11,760 people who have lost their lives. New York and Texas has more people than New York and 20,000 less lives lost. New York has 32,482 people who've lost their lives. So why doesn't Jonathan Swan ask why New York has by far the most lives lost? Why doesn't he ask why New Jersey has the second highest number of lives lost and the highest rate per capita of lives lost? You can look at the 7 of the top 10 in terms of lives lost are Democratic-run states. New York, New Jersey, California, Massachusetts, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Michigan. Okay, you look at the bottom, you look at states like, Tennessee have 1,547 lives lost. Alabama, 2,000 lives lost. So, I mean, the rebuttal could be, well, it's population. Yeah, but Texas and Florida have, Florida has 10,324 people who've lost their lives. Texas has 11,760 people. Texas and Florida have a lot more people than New Jersey or New York. Why is it that New Jersey and New York have so many more? New York in particular, 20,000 more people. And New Jersey, around 5,000 more people. So they don't want to look at aggregate cases because they look at aggregate numbers. If they look at aggregate numbers, the metropolitan areas and cities run by Democrats, states run by Democrats, in aggregate are doing infinitely worse. States run by Republicans in aggregate are doing better. The economies of states by Republicans are generally doing better. The unemployment rate is the highest in states like New York, California, New Jersey, Illinois, Michigan. Okay, so these are Democratic-run states. Unemployment is lowest in Republican-run states. So they can blame President Trump all they like. The average American is not looking and saying, oh, well, this is all Trump's fault. And I'm reading the New York Times. This is the New York Times. You can look at the map. All the clusters here are in the Northeast and Midwest. And then to get away from the aggregate numbers, they say, well, percentage of cases within the past week. Percentage of lives, or number of lives lost within the past week. Okay. Look at any chart of the flu. It doesn't just go down automatically. It doesn't just go down without going back up. It's these statistics. If you open up society to let people work and live, yeah, people are going to get cases. The vast majority of the time, they'll live. They'll live and they'll survive. Media doesn't want to focus on that. That's why Jonathan Swan didn't want to focus on cases as a percentage of people that actually survived. But see, again, they're not you're not going to blame. I'm reading the New York Times. This is August 23rd. August 23rd. Pandemic in U.S. latest map and case count. Updated August 23rd, 2020, 9:31 p.m. Eastern by the New York Times. And we have cases going down. New cases are going down. It's like not only are cases going down nationwide, but you have media still trying to perpetuate like this doomsday scenario. You can look at the graph. The cases are going down nationwide. The aggregate numbers aren't good for Democratic-run states. So, not Trump's fault. Not Trump's fault. If you look at unemployment, You look at unemployment, ladies and gentlemen. Massachusetts has one of the highest totals of lives lost and 17% unemployment. Okay? This is according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Massachusetts always votes blue. New Jersey, run purely by Democrats. And God bless the people of New Jersey. Only the most amazing people live in New Jersey. New Jersey, 16.6% unemployment. This is according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Okay, no. So it's actually gone down. So Massachusetts, 16.1%. New York leads the world in cases and lives lost, and also almost leads the country in unemployment, 15.9%. This is Trump's fault? This is Trump's fault? And then New Jersey is fourth with 13.7% unemployment. And second in the country in aggregate of lives lost. California, 13.3% unemployment. Illinois, 11.3% unemployment. Oregon, 10.4% unemployment. Oh, so I actually skipped Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is, so it's Massachusetts, New York, Nevada, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, California. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 of the top 6 are run primarily by Democrats. Massachusetts, 16.1% unemployment. New York, 15.9% unemployment. New Jersey, 13.8% unemployment. Pennsylvania, 13.3% unemployment. California, 13.1% unemployment. Oh, sorry, 13.3% unemployment. California, Pennsylvania, 13.7% unemployment. So this is Trump's fault? Utah has 4.5% unemployment. Nebraska, 4.8%. Idaho, 5%. Kentucky, 5.7%. 6.3%. South Dakota. Montana, 6.4%. Iowa, 6.6%. So, okay, Texas, 8%. Still, that's better than 16% unemployment. It's still high. Okay. Missouri, 6.9%. Oklahoma, 7.1% unemployment. So you look, and where's a blue state here in the lowest unemployment rate? I can't find a blue state. I cannot find a blue state. So the lowest, going from 4.5%, the lowest unemployment rates, Utah, Nebraska, Idaho, Kentucky, South Dakota, Montana, Iowa, North Dakota, all red states. Missouri, Wisconsin is a blue state, 7% unemployment. But then Arkansas, Oklahoma, Wyoming, Kansas, Colorado, blue state. But Georgia, so most in the Texas is 8%. So this is Trump's fault? This is all Trump? No. It's not a coincidence that you have the most lives lost and the highest unemployment. Just go to the New York Times and the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It's not a coincidence that the worst economies are in blue states, run by people like de Blasio and Schumer. I mean, New York is leading the country in cases, lives lost, and unemployment. That's Trump's fault. And they're around 20% of the U.S. GDP is New York. Between New York and California, it's close to 40% of U.S. GDP. And New York has 15%, almost 16% unemployment, and California has 13.3% unemployment. So this is Trump's fault. And you have every single district attorney, federal court ruling against Trump in both of those states. So this is not like they can say whatever they want regarding they can say whatever they will. Look at the economy. Well, look at the numbers. Look at the pandemic. Well, look at the numbers. This is not attributed to you cannot attribute everything. Has he made missteps? Of course there's things he could have done better. Of course there are things President Trump could have done better. Of course. Is it his fault? No. Not his fault. There's a difference. That's another reason why Democrats are going to lose. Because everything is either his fault or, it's either Democrats or, we just have to deal with this president and everything is his fault. Or you look and the numbers show that he couldn't. There's no way that, what is he going to do? Tell New York's governor or tell Gavin Newsom in California what to do? No. He can't tell a state to either shut down or open up their economy. There are states that never really shut down, red states, and they're doing a lot better in terms of the pandemic and also in terms of their economies. The federal government can't tell a state how to run its state. I mean, unless they're breaking federal law. So that's one of the many reasons Trump will win again. This is not what Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld did. And, tanking the economy towards the end of W. Bush's with a recession that almost could have been a depression because the economy was not in a good position. It wasn't that just, states decided to shut down to save people's lives. So you can't say, oh, look at the food lines. Oh, Trump's America. It's like, well, Trump's America. If you want to talk about red states, look at the numbers. I just went through them. Look at the numbers for the blue states. The people who are suffering the most economically and from the pandemic, you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics and you look at the New York Times, October 23rd, 2020. You cannot get away from that fact. You can't get away from that fact. So, you just cannot get away from that. The Good Heart 1000! Imagine the crying, screaming, the weeping, the wailing. That will ensue when Royal Highness loses again. It will be biblical. Yes, the Good Heart 1000. It will be biblical. It will absolutely be biblical. And it's going to be amazing because there are no Biden voters. There are no Biden voters. There's no such thing as a Biden voter. I've been laid off again since July. I live in Northern California. There's a momentum to recall Gavin Newsom, Trump 2020. I agree with you, Morpheus, and God bless you, Morpheus. Thank you very, very, very much. Especially just being so supportive of my work, and just thank you very much. Yeah. I don't see, Morpheus. We had a budget surplus. Now we have a budget. The budget deficit is in the tens of billions of dollars. What's the budget deficit? California, Morpheus. 54. Governor Newsom, okay's budget closing $54.3 billion budget deficit. $54.3 billion. Yes, Alex, hello. So, if you look, ladies and gentlemen, it's like they're trying to they blame everything on President Trump, but it's not Trump's fault. And everybody knows it's not Trump's fault. Morpheus, California, $54 billion. Over a $53 billion budget deficit. So, and Morpheus, thank you so very much for supporting my work. I appreciate it greatly. Especially with everything going on. I just appreciate it. Morpheus, thank you. $53 billion budget deficit. And at a certain point, you can't, I mean, the Democratic Party is not going to rebound from this because they can say, oh, well, we're doing this to save people's lives. At a certain point, people are like, no, I'll take that risk. I'll take the risk. You know what? I'll take the risk to work for my family. Instead of just, saying, oh, well, we need the stimulus. I'll take the risk to work. Because Democrats, they have once again miscalculated. Their message is, oh, we'll protect you, we'll protect you. Well, you haven't protected people within your own states, and you haven't helped them economically either. So, it's just, it's August, we have September, October. People, we have a little over 2 months. We have a little over 2 months to the biggest, election of our lifetime. And look, California, with California and New York, it's going to be very difficult for any Republican, not just President Trump, to win the popular vote. J-Spot J! Buckle up, just going to get bumpier here on out. Exactly. That is an understatement. And if you notice, J-Spot J and Morpheus, thank you again. Morpheus, thank you. If you notice J-Spot J, it's getting like every day is just, it's actually slowing down. It's not speeding up. We're in this like time warp, this like bizarre time warp where it's like this bizarre time warp where you have the election is 2 months away, and it just seems like it'll never happen. It seems like and they ain't going to go with Biden because, the Zoom nomination, that was a debacle. We have the Republican National Convention. They're going to easily surpass, viewership of the DNC Zoom meeting. And let's see. President Trump is expected to make an appearance every night of the RNC this week, which will be fantastic. And it's going to be, it's close to the press. That'll be hilarious. So, it's going to be a lot different. I look forward to it. It'll be interesting to see the difference in terms of viewership. Let's look at this RNC convention. Trump campaign announces speakers for Republican convention. Trump family members, conservative allies dominate GOP convention lineup. Let's see. Republican National Convention starts Monday. You're going to see a completely different mood. Because, see, the Democrats were like, how do we make not liking the country patriotic? How do we do this? How do we do that? And Republicans will just be all in on the traditional form of patriotism, which most countries around the world, have adopted forever. It won't be like, and this is the thing. This is how they obsess over Trump. Cat Papa Bob Anderson. Most media outlets in U.S. Cat Papa Bob Anderson. Hello. Cat Papa Bob Anderson. Hello. Yeah, I agree. You look at. Type in Joe Biden right now. Type in Joe Biden right now. And you're not getting the typical Joe Biden, New York Post, Biden faces new plagiarism claim over DNC acceptance speech 2 hours ago. Biden gains popularity in post-convention polling. I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that. But whatever. Maybe among Democrats. Okay. Biden tad ABC's David Muir on raising tad. No new taxes for anyone. Okay, so just the notion of new taxes when people are out of work isn't going to help Democrats at all. But here, you have Biden today with the cognitive issue, and he's like, "Oh, you just watch, Mr. President. You watch." That has done nothing to alleviate any concerns. But this is with media actively suppressing or actively just sweeping under the rug all the statements like, Arizona is a city. So Joe Biden. Arizona is a city. Biden calls Arizona an important city. This is July 15, 2020, Fox News. Biden calls Arizona an important city. Biden, this is Reuters, running for Senate. Joe Biden accidentally tells voters he's running for Senate. See, here it's like it's accidental. Biden says I'm a Democratic candidate for Senate. This is, by the way, mind you, with media, Cat Papa Bob Anderson. This is with media actively trying to. So Trump never said, take a shot at Drano and enjoy yourself. He never said that at all. The media, what they do, and they do this, they take a story where allegedly they're opposing Trump in some manner. They take a story where they're opposing President Trump in some manner, and then they say, "Oh my God, do you see what Trump? You see this situation with President Trump is just really horrible, and he might have meant this and he might have meant that, and we oppose this, but we're going to talk about this forever. We're going to talk about this forever." And make it a story. Make it a story that doesn't exist. Ladies and gentlemen, do you see is there buffering here? That can you see me and can you hear me? Ladies and gentlemen. Can you see and hear me? Just asking. All right, so let's continue. But you're going to see a much. I think the RNC will be very different from the DNC convention. The DNC convention was a Zoom meeting that was not believable. Even the left was like, and here's the difference between the two conventions. The left will have nothing good to say, has had nothing good to say about the DNC convention. Nothing good to say. Democrats, yeah, the average Democrat, oh yeah, well, they're just ready to, the average Democrat's ready to vote against Trump. But the far left, they're not going to vote. They wouldn't, first of all, it's going to be Clinton, but they're not going to vote for Biden. They're not going to vote for Biden. They wouldn't. The same people who are never Biden people on the left, when Clinton becomes nominee, eventually replaces with a meeting from Tom Perez. All they need, watch my segment from today. All they need, ladies and gentlemen, all they need is a meeting, just a meeting, to say, look, you know what? The polls are tightening. We need Clinton to be the new nominee or whatever. We need Clinton to generate enthusiasm and passion, and we just need Clinton to add some life to this election. And we're just going to replace, because I explained, Donna Brazile, there are numerous articles talking about how Donna Brazile could have easily replaced Clinton. They can definitely do that. They will do that because they have no chance. Biden would get obliterated, absolutely decimated by President Trump, and President Trump did well, quite well, in mail-in and absentee ballots. So their hope is like, oh my God, we need the mail-in ballots. Yeah, but Trump does well also. So the assumption is that more Democrats will vote because the polls show that Biden's up, so that'll reflect in the polls, but there's always going to be some issue. There's always going to be some issue, ladies and gentlemen, that they complain about. On my end right here, I'm having a hard time because my computer is like freezing up. But let's see here. The Republican National Convention begins tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. I'm guessing it's going to be a lot better than the DNC debacle. I'm guessing it's going to be a heck of a lot better. We shall see. I think at least the average Trump supporter is going to say, okay, this is a lot better than the DNC convention. The DNC convention was an unmitigated disaster, an unmitigated absolute catastrophe. And it was the type of thing where you have Panzer. Classic Biden. Biden said he will. Did he say that? Probably. My computer, I can't see what's going on my computer, so I have to look at my phone. But we'll see what takes place. We'll see what takes place at the Republican convention, and we'll see the difference between the two conventions. You're going to see a lot more energy, enthusiasm, because Republicans don't have to like what Democrats had all of these competing narratives. They had all of these competing narratives that they had to convey. Like they had to appease the far left. They had to appease centrist Democrats. They had to convey a message that they love the country, but not so much that they don't know that there's a lot of bad things going on. And it's, of course, you can't see. The Republicans are probably going to focus on how bad Democrats are, but they'll focus more on policies. With the DNC, it was just Trump bad. For whatever reason, vote for us. We have no reason. We don't know why, but definitely vote for us. Whatever you do, vote for us. Just because Trump is horrible. That was the message. There was no other message. There was just no other message other than that. So, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm having an issue on my computer, which is really, really annoying. So I can see you. So there's the back end of the chat, but for some reason, I think my fantastic computer is, oh, this is so annoying. If you want, there's 700 people on this stream. I guess I'll keep going. I'll keep going, and I'll try to fix this while we're, because you can still see and hear me, so that's good. Kellyanne Conway is gone. I actually think that's a very good thing for President Trump. I never understood. Kelly boy! If you want to know the crimes Democrats committed, all you have to do is listen to their accusations. Exactly. Great point. Exactly. Great point. Jaded Vegas, hello. So I'm glad everybody can hear me, which is really funny because I'm like no longer on the back end of YouTube. I'm just looking at my phone. Cali boy, exactly. That's actually probably the best way I've ever heard. If you want to know the crimes Democrats committed, all you have to do is listen to their accusations, which is 100% accurate. They're the ones who purchased the Steele dossier. They're the ones, if you want to talk about Russian interference. Duke Diesel! That's an issue that I can't... Duke Diesel is an issue I can't talk about on the live stream. Or really, I guess it's like impossible to really talk about for me. So I have a small channel and I want to fly under the radar. But I don't think from here on out for the next 2 months, I don't think the media is going to pay attention to any negative story aside from stories that allow Madam Secretary an opening to take over for Biden, because they can't win with Biden. But aside from that, Duke Diesel, I think it's Cali Boy, like, addresses that issue. Every single thing they bring up is going to be about Trump. It's not going to be about anything that implicates Democrats. And it just will not be anything that implicates Democrats at all. I just don't see them. I don't see them focusing on any major story that could possibly hurt the Democratic Party, because right now there's 2 months left. This is the last chance they have. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last chance that they have in terms of this paradigm of thought where Trump is bad and horrible and he's a monster and he's not politically correct and that is going to dissipate into, oh my God, we lost again. What do we stand for? And they're not going to be able to answer, well, what do we stand for? Ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to have to, I have 710 people on this stream and I want to continue. But actually, for the people who want to stay, continue. I'm not going to end the live stream, but I have to reboot my computer. So please just bear with me because this computer is driving me nuts. Duke Diesel, not B. Clinton. No, because you know what the thing is with media, even if it implicated Bill Clinton, they would sweep it under the rug. I think that they're almost impervious to any issue right now. I mean, they're almost impervious. But ladies and gentlemen, Duke Diesel, everybody here, keep on the live stream. I have to reboot my computer. The live stream will still be up, and I will be back in like probably 3 to 4 minutes. So if you want to stay. The live stream has not ended. Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, the live stream has not ended, so let people know that I just have to reboot. I'll be back on this live stream, so just stay here. But I can't see you on my end. Let me try again. It's really, really annoying, and my computer does this sometimes. So just stay here. We'll see how we have 706 people. Let's see how many stay, but just give me like 3 minutes because I have to reboot this thing. So I'll be rebooting right now. Ladies and gentlemen, can you hear me? I think it's working again, and I think we're back. Let me know, Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, if we are back. And I think we're back, people. So finally, okay, this is good. Finally, we had what, 700? Let's just see if we can get back to 700. But I apologize. It was really, really weird. The RNC hopefully will be a lot better. I think it will be a lot better. And the thing is, like, I'm not voting for President Trump because I'm a Republican. I'm conservative on some issues, like the Second Amendment. But I'm certainly not a Lincoln Project person. Those are the same people who got us into never-ending counterinsurgency conflict. So I'm not a Lincoln Project person at all. In fact, they're the reason I'm voting for President Trump. They're the reason that everyone is voting for President Trump. If you are voting for President Trump, you're doing so because of the Lincoln Project. I have liberal friends tweeting me or texting me. No, I don't have Twitter, but like texting or if you see anybody impersonating me on Twitter, I do not have a Twitter account. They're breaking the law. Please notify Twitter and report them. But I have liberal friends emailing me or texting me Lincoln Project videos, and I'm like, well, this is the reason President Trump won. This is the exact reason President Trump won. They don't get it. This is when you have Democrats saying, I would vote for Romney over Trump, that's why Trump won. That's why President Trump won. Because you would vote for Mitt Romney over because Democrats would vote for Mitt Romney over President Trump is the exact reason President Trump won. It is the exact reason that President Trump won. And they don't understand that. They don't get that. The way they see things is, well, Trump is horrible and he's a menace, but he's also a Republican, and you see the Republicans don't like him. But that's not true. The people who were kicked out of the Republican Party, so the George Conways of the world, don't like Trump. But they're the reason President Trump won. You cannot have the foreign policy, and this is the thing. Democrats have been obsessed with Russian Facebook ads for 4 years. This is their foreign policy. Their foreign policy consists of being angry that Russia interfered in the election to help Trump win. That's it. Then they preside over 20% of U.S. uranium capacity being sold to Putin, and they're okay with that. It's the Facebook ads that they're really tough on, and it happened under their watch. This is one of the most nonsensical, irrational, absurd things about the whole Trump-Russia fiasco that Democrats perpetuated. It happened under their watch. They're the ones. While they were setting up and framing Trump, so they were sharing a Steele dossier as Facebook ads were being purchased by Russian operatives. How does that work? You mean you couldn't protect the country from Russian Facebook ads or Twitter bots? So you look at their foreign policy. They have no foreign policy, and they have no foreign policy achievements. There were no being the first president to step foot in North Korea is a huge accomplishment. It's a breathtaking, like, paradigm-changing accomplishment. President Moon Jae-in stated that Trump deserved the Nobel Peace Prize. And so it is a huge, huge accomplishment. But Democrats, all they do is they sweep anything that Trump has done under the rug. And they keep on saying things like, oh, he lacks integrity, he's a bad person, he's cruel. President Obama's administration was far more cruel in numerous ways. I can't even really get into it via the live stream or on YouTube. But if you want to get into cruelty, ask what took place in Libya. Ask why President Obama would drink Flint water when it was poisonous. Ask how many immigrants were taken under President Obama's watch, and all the horrendous things they had to deal with under Democrats. And you look, ladies and gentlemen, and it's like first president to begin détente between North and South Korea. An actual, the beginning of détente. That doesn't mean that there's going to be peace instantly. That doesn't mean there's going to be like immediate peace. It means that there was a diplomatic achievement that President Obama and Bush could never have achieved. So, and then you look, we had nationwide record low unemployment. That's something I think that President Trump should talk about that. Like, he should talk about the economy. He really should talk about the economy before the pandemic. He really, really should talk about the economy before the pandemic, because we had record low unemployment. And I mean, it's very difficult. He can't bring up the fact that unemployment is highest in Democratic states, or maybe he can. I don't know. But he has to talk about prison reform legislation. He should talk about these things. These are huge accomplishments. He should talk about the fact that he signed an executive order combating anti-Semitism on college campuses, which is running rampant. He should talk about all of these things. Roy, Snake Pilskin, yes. Yes. Oh, wait a second. Oh, my God. Hold on. Absolutely. I love Kurt Russell. I think he's fantastic. I love all of his movies, especially Big Trouble in Little China, one of the great movies of all time. Kurt Russell's awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it, I think we're going to end this awesome stream. I'm sorry. I apologize for the, that I had to, reboot the computer during the stream, but that's sometimes what takes place. But ladies and gentlemen, Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you very, very much. Missy, hello. Duke Chronic, hello. Ladies and gentlemen, be here tomorrow evening, 9 p.m. I was a little late today, but be here about 9 p.m. Pacific, and we'll talk about the Republican National, the Republican Convention, and President Trump. He's going to get reelected, people, and just count the days before November 3rd, because President Trump is not only going to win, he's going to defeat Hillary Clinton again. It's just a matter of time before before Tom Perez says, you know what, we need a meeting. Biden can't possibly defeat Trump. We know this. The only person who could possibly defeat Trump, who's a superior candidate, is Hillary Clinton. And then we get Clinton versus Trump for the debates, and my God, be here for that stream and those uploads. Give me your thoughts below, everyone. Thank you very much to my super chat. Thank you. God bless. Subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you tomorrow, everyone. Thank you.